Hi everyone, this is Natasha. I wanted to share with you this birthday card that I made, and it is going to be called Fashionably Late, because I am late because the birthday girl is celebrating today, and obviously it's not in the mail and she's not local, so it'll be fashionably late. So what I did is I picked up one of these Prima mixed media doll stamps. Unfortunately, they don't have a name specifically. There is a number. It's 910198, and it's this one. And I had to pull out my Fisker stamp press in order to fit it because I didn't have a block that was big enough. It's not centered because I stamped it using Memento Tuxedo Black ink on Staples Ivory cardstock, and I just cut it out, so I didn't really need for it to line up to a particular place. So that's the stamp that I used as the focal image. This is in A7 card, which is kind of an unusual size for me because I ordinarily do A2 size, which I'll show you an A2 envelope. There's in comparison. So the A7 is 5 by 7, so it's 5 inches by 7 inches. And I used the base is the Fellows Report cover stock that I adore. It's heavier than 110 pound weight. I think it's 140. It's a nice heavy cardstock. So I took I think the report covers are 11.5 by 9, and I trimmed it down to 10 by 7 and then folded it the 10 line in half, therefore making it a 5 by 7 card. The top layer is in Ivory Staples cardstock, which I ran through this Lifestyle Crafts floral folder in Damask. And yes, I do have nail polish on one hand but not on the other. So you get the before and after. Oh, and before I get asked, this is a dupe for Orly's Space Cadet. It's really cool. I have pictures on my blog and on Facebook. Anyway, so this is the embossing folder that I used. This is an A2 size folder. However, since I was using a larger piece of paper, all I did is center the image where I wanted it and then ran it through twice. And because I knew I was going to have layers on top, I wasn't too concerned about any delineation between the pattern break, which is fine for me. So that's the embossing folder, and I love how deeply that embosses. Look at that. And again, there is no inking anywhere. It's kind of a clean looking card, or a clean, kind of an elegant card. And then all of these doilies were cut with Lifestyle Crafts nested doily die. There's 5, and I used 3 of the sizes and both pattern paper. And the pattern paper is from Die Cuts With of You. Let me just grab this stack. It's one of the little stacks of 6x6 that I picked up at AC Moore, and this is this particular pattern paper comes from the Essentials. And it comes in different colors. It's in the gray section. So there's a lot of coordinating papers in there. So I used just one sheet to stamp the dress portion of the doll and the doily, and then this little punch is the Martha Stewart branch punch. So just kind of to have something visually different here than just the black. And then I don't know if you can, how well you could tell, but the bodice of the dress, the hem, and the shoes were all colored up with this puffy velvet fabric marker. So what you do is, and I'll have to do a separate video on how to use this particular product. It's for fabric, but you can use it on paper, particularly thicker cardstock. And it's a really lovely texture. It's like velvet. I don't know if you could see that. So you cover whatever portion of your stamped image or you want to highlight. Just keep in mind, obviously, the color will, the marker will cover any detail, so I used it on flat spaces. Even though there's kind of a fringe detail on the bottom of the hem of the skirt, I didn't mind covering that up because I wanted the textural effect. So you cover it with a marker, you allow it to air dry. Once it's air dry, and you'll see it'll change from a, you know, liquid looking to kind of a matte, then you apply it with a heat gun very lightly and while moving, so you don't scorch the paper or warp it, and then it turns into this velvet. So it's a really cool effect. And I picked these up from Blitsy, and they have them periodically. They have kind of encore sales. So that's that. And then I colored the hair using a couple of different Copic markers in the warm grays and blacks. And then the Fashionably was printed through my printer, and then I just cut it with the nesting die, and there is 2. And a lot of these layers are on 1/8 inch dimensional foam adhesive, because I wanted to give it a little bit of, you could see, dimension. It's not very dimensional, so it could absolutely be sent through the mail. Keep in mind, you will not need an additional stamp if your card is not not an off size, so it's not a square card. Square cards require additional postage, or if your image or if your card is thinner than a 1/4 inch. So this is definitely within the 1/4 inch, so it'll be just 1 postage stamp. I just have to find an envelope that will fit the A7 card. And then at the very bottom, what I did is I created these tiny little Polaroids. I'm calling them Polaroids because they're not really Polaroids, but they're dimensional black and cream. And then I just spelled out with Cuttlebug little letters late, so it's Fashionably late. And then on the inside, I haven't written the message yet, obviously, so I could share it. I have a tiny little gray doily in the corner, and I just added a layer of the ivory cardstock so I can write a message. I could have used a white pen and just left it on the black. However, the front ends up being a little top heavy, so you need a little bit of a balance on the inside. So that's what I did. And then on the back, the only thing that's on there is my created by, and it's this little stamp, and I have a created by with my name and a created by with my company name, which is Clever Soiree. So there you go. There's my card. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. There's a button. Use it. Feel free to share it if you think anyone might be interested in seeing it. And I'll include a link in the description below to my blog post that has the full recipe for the card, including links to the sources of where I've purchased the various items, like the Lifestyle Crafts. Not the stamp, unfortunately, because I got that from a local scrapbooking store, and I know that they're kind of a hot commodity these days, so if you just patient, I'm sure Prima will make another run of them. There you go. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. Feel free to guess who this is for. The birthday is today. So there you go. If you do some research, you'll figure it out. Thanks for watching, everyone.